Hey guys, and welcome to part 4 of my Cosmic Ripples crochet along. Right, so just before I get started on the next part of this video, I've done this on purpose just to basically explain how you can fix little errors or little problems as you go along. Now, what I mean by this is when you come in to do these corners, if your stitch count goes slightly off, as in I have too many stitches down one side, I've counted, you should have about 50 to 51 stitches on each side, and I think I'm out by about 4 on here. So what I've done is I've gone around my entire blanket just on these corner pieces and kind of figured out the sides where I have more stitches, and then I put a stitch marker on how many extra ones I've got. So I've got 4 extra on this round, on this round, so I bobbed in a little stitch marker. So what we're going to do is, when we come to do our next round, on this side, it doesn't matter where you do them, just kind of space them out, we're going to crochet 2 together now and again. And you're not even going to see it, but as the blanket gets bigger, it's just going to correct it and just keep it looking tidy. So on this one, I have a few extra there. Like I said, I've done this on purpose, just so I can give you little tips and little tricks as we go along on how you can fix things. I'm just going to push these little bobbles up. So I've got a couple missing, a couple extra there, but whatever, we can fix it. So for this round, we're just going to do, I'm going back to this colour, which I've used here. So whatever colour you've used there, or if you want to use an entirely different colour, that is entirely up to you. So I'm just going to connect my yarn on, chain 3 because I'm making a corner, then a double crochet, chain 2 and a double crochet, and another one because it's a corner. So what I'll do is I'll get you started. Just going to scoot this round a little bit. So I'm just going to go down to this corner here, doing 1 double crochet in every stitch. So nice and easy round for this one. And don't forget, when you get to your corner, you're missing the last 2 stitches and the first 2 stitches on the other side, because we don't want it buckling up on us. So if you kind of lay it down flat, that's not this stitch, because I'm just counting that stitch as a continuation of here. So it's actually this stitch and this stitch I'm missing. So it's not this one, because that kind of follows straight on. So it's that one and the next one. And then on this side, it's a little easier to see. It's going to be not this one, but you go into the next one. Just double check that. 1, 2, and then that is my third. Then I'll just put a couple of stitches here, just so then I can lay it flat and just double check. So as you can see, it makes a nice corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join you back when I get to over here, and then I'll just show you how to do a decrease if you don't already know. So carry on stitching, and I'll see you in a moment. Right, so I've just done this part of the corner. Sorry if this colours doesn't really show up on camera very well by looking at it, but that's fine. I do apologise. So what we're going to do is, I've done 10 stitches on this side. So since I have about 2 stitches too many on this side, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to yarn over, go into my next stitch, pull up a loop, and I'm not going to yarn over again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the very next stitch and pull up another loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through the first 3 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. So this is a decreasing stitch, so it's putting 2 stitches together, and just to keep our stitch count a little bit better on track. So since I've got another one to get rid of, I'm just going to keep going a little bit, about another 10 stitches I think. So just bear with. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, another 2, and then I'll do another decrease. 9 and 10. So that decreasing stitch again is yarn over, go through a stitch, pull up a loop, go through the next stitch, pull up a loop. So you have 4 loops. So you yarn over and go through the first 3 loops, leaving 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and go through there again. So as you continue, you can barely see these. It's that one right there. So so just carry on stitching for the entire round. I can take this out again, this stitch counter, and do all your inside corners the same as we have been doing. So you're missing the 2 corner stitches on each side, and then I will join you back for the second round. Hey guys, welcome to the next part of this video. What we're going to do is we are going to be making 12 squares in total. So it's going to be 12 squares containing of only 2 rounds per square. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 8 in one colour and 4 of another. And then once you've made those, join me back and I'll show you where we're going to put them. Right, so I now have my squares, little squares completed. I've got 4 of this colour, and I have 8 of this colour. So what I'm going to do is whatever ones you've got 4 of, they're going to go on the, let's call it the big corners. So on the sections we've just been doing. And then the others, where we have 8 of them, are going to get attached onto these, small corners. So, join me back after you finish sewing all those, and I'll see you in a moment. Right guys, so I've just sewn all my little squares onto every single corner of the blanket, so it's going to look a bit funny for a few rounds. So I'm using yet another new colour. You can use whatever colours you want, so I'm just going with what I have at home. And we're going to do these exactly the same way as the beginning video. So I'm just tying a colour on there. So 1, 2 and 3 to make a corner. So just a corner like any other corner. So it's going to be quite a long round now, because every time we add squares we also add stitches, because we've got to go around. Right, so I'm just going stitch for stitch. So what we'll do is I'll just do a little bit with you, just so it's completely clear on what we're doing. So I'm back to another corner. That's 2 double crochet. That's just my tail, what I've been weaving in as I go. I'm a big fan of doing that on this project. And I'll just cut that little bit off. So it's a little tricky for me to manoeuvre this thing round whilst I'm on camera, but I will do my best. So you want to make sure that your squares don't accidentally flipped over or anything whilst you're moving around. Now I'm just going to go down this side. I love these 2 colours together. So we're going to do the same thing. You miss your 2 corner stitches out. So there's 1, 2, and I've just got 1 there to do. There we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to actually make sure that I'm in the right position here. I'll just move on a little bit. And then if you count 2 stitches here and jump into your third. So 1, 2, 1, 2, and then into that third stitch. And then you just keep going for another couple of stitches. Just continuing on like normal. So I'm missing 2 stitches out here in this corner. So it's exactly the same technique as when we started our blanket, apart from it's just going to make a slightly different shape. And I will explain something in a few moments. Just want to get this corner stitch done. So I'll just bob another couple in there, then I'll lay it flat because I need to tell you something. Right, I've just stopped there. Right, get my background sorted. I'm just using foam mats for my backing for my videos nowadays, so I can actually move them around. Right, so 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, so we're going to do this round and another round, exactly the same, nothing different. So it gets rid of these 2 stitches and those 2 stitches, so you should have 2 in between left. So yeah, do this round in whatever colour you choose, and also the next round in whatever colour you choose. You know, it's entirely up to you. Just make sure you have enough yarn to get all the way around your blanket and in each colour, where I will be back. So complete those 2 rounds and then join me back, because this gap will close, and then I can show you what to do with that gap. Right guys, so we've just done these 2 rounds of colour, and I have had to do a couple of decreases throughout this round. So on average, you should have about 39 stitches going across on these corners. So I had to do a couple of decreases, but since our blanket's that big at the moment, you're not going to notice these decreases at all, and it will balance out. I think the most I had to put in one side is about 5. Just because I've not been concentrating on keeping my stitches even, but hey, it's fine. It will all balance. Right, so I am going to be using a dark yarn, black even this time, if I can find the end. I'm struggling to see today. And what we're going to do is, where we have these squares which are on the side of the first piece we did, we have these squares. So what we want to do is want to fill this little area in. So if we did a round all the way around, we don't have enough stitches to go in and back out of here. So what we're going to do is we are going to pick on this stitch right there, and that's where we're going to attach onto. So it's this one in the corner. Just attach like normal, and then on this side, that's where we're going to start going across. Just like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a row. I'm going to call it a row rather than a round for this one, because we're not going all the way around. We're just going to the opposite side of this corner into the same location. So what I'll do is I'll put a couple more stitches in, and then I can show you exactly where we're going to finish. But I'll be joining you for that part of the row anyway. So, like always, just stitch for stitch. Just going to go until I can cut that bit of yarn tail off, or until it works its way in. Tend to just carry on going with my yarn tails until they're all worked in. There we are. Right, so I'm just going to scoot this round a bit. So when it comes to the edge of this square, what we're going to do is we're going to finish over here. And we're going to do this for all 4 sides of our blanket just for this round. So I will meet you back there. Right, so I'm just coming up on the end of that little row. So I've just gone round this little square and across this row. And we're just going to keep going until we can't do any more stitches. So that's my last stitch right there. And then what I'm going to do is I am just going to slip stitch it to this stitch up here in this second, well, this first one right there. So right into there. So, bit of a funny angle for me to work on, but hey, we'll get there. That one. And leave enough tail to do a little bit of light sewing. So what you can do with this tail end now is lay this flat, and you're going to go stitch for stitch. Let's just grab a sewing needle and I'll just show you right quick. So sewing needle, I'm just going to thread this. And I'm just going to do a whip stitch, and I'm going to go stitch for stitch until I just hit that corner. I know it's a bit tricky to see what I'm doing here, especially when I'm using dark yarn, but I do apologise. And then I'm just going to go into that corner and I'm just going to sew it right there. And into the next stitch. Oops, running out of yarn there. And then I'm just going to thread it back through and back out. And that should be enough to hold it. So you're going to do that for this round. Don't forget to sew up your little beginning area. You can always leave your yarn tail out to do your sewing at the beginning, which I should have done. So what you can do is, if you've not done that, is you can just pick it up and pull it back through. Just by whipping that out there. Then I'll just sew this one up whilst I'm here. So again, just stitch for stitch, you know, take your time with it. I'm just going a little bit quicker for the purpose of the video. Normally I'll do it a bit slower, but I'm used to doing this kind of stuff by now, so I'm one into the next, and that takes me into my corner. And then I'm just going to take it back through there, and that'll be enough to secure it. You can, if you want, you can turn your blanket round to do that, so as all your yarn tails are underneath, but hey, I just can't be bothered with that today, because it's a lot to turn around on camera. So as you can see, that's just filled that gap in really nicely. It's given us a nice clean right angle there, and a nice clean right angle on the other side also. So you can do that 4 times, and then join me back for the next part of this video. Right guys, so now we've got our black sections in there, and it's connection V's on nice and tight. So what we're going to do is, for the next 5 rounds, we're just going to go all the way around our blanket. It is going to be quite a long process, but it's going to be worth it because these are going to start filling in a little bit, and yeah, it's just going to look fab. So use 5 colours, any colours you like, make them all different, yeah, alternate them. So yeah, I'm just going to do a mix of these colours here, I think, one after another, probably starting with Illuminous Yellow, and I will see you back after 5 rounds. Right guys, so we have now completed 5 rounds all the way around our project, and yes, sorry about that, it was a long 5 rounds, but hey, you've done it now, so let's get cracking, shall we? So what we're going to do is, on this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to fill in the corners. So if you work from a square with the ridges, and I'm going to my left now, to the left hand corner. So we have that little square there what we're attached, and then that is the very corner. What we're going to do is we are going to start here. So for this, I'm actually using everybody's favourite yarn, black, just because I feel like it. Right, and what I'm going to do is try not to knock my camera over. Do apologise, I've got a weird angle on my tripod today. Right, so starting on that corner, it kind of runs all the way up from the right hand side of that square with the ridges. I'm just going to connect my yarn into that chain 2 gap, into that corner, and I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. Now this does class as your first crochet, double crochet even. Just trying to get this in a good working position so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into that first stitch right there, and I'm going to work down to the bottom, just not all the way down because I still want to miss the last 2. So I'll just do a couple and then just explain. Right, so what we want to do is, this is where we're starting, so we're going to work across this edge. This is our corner, so this is coming back down the other side, and we want to start on the opposite corner from where we've, we want to finish on the opposite corner from where we've just started. So if I can't even I can't even get it all in camera. So if I do a bit more of this is where we finish. Once it's in front of you, it's going to be easier to see. I do apologise, but this is such a big project that I'm now having trouble getting enough of it into frame. So you're just going to do 1 row, and then I will be back towards the end of this like little row segment. Right, so I'm just coming up on the end of that first like little row. So what you want to make sure is on this little part where you started, it's a bit easier to see where I mean now. On this part where you started, say I have 16 stitches going from here, including my chain 3, down to this corner. So on this side, I want to make sure I have the same. So I've just done 10. I might be slightly out, but 10, 11, 12, 13, I'm going to do 2 in this one, 14, and then 2 in this chain 2, 15 and 16, because this is just going to keep my corner a little bit more even. Again, I'm with bits on this tutorial, I am showing you how to correct errors at the same time. So don't worry if yours isn't exactly the same, it doesn't need to be. You know, it's all these you know, little tips and tricks you can do along the way to even fix a funny stitch count, so not to worry. So I'm just getting my second colour now, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the beginning. So back to here, and we're going to go into the top of our chain 3. Bit tricky to see that because it's in black, but no, I'm in the top of my chain 3 there with my new colour, and then I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to go into that first stitch, can see it. And then I'm gonna do the exact same as the round I've just done. So including that chain 3, I'm going to be counting these stitches because then I know I've got the correct amount on the opposite side. 3. So that's 12, 13, 14. So I've got 14 there, so on the opposite side I need to make sure I've got 14. So I'm just going to go down on here. And on this side, again, I've got a couple of stitches too many from what I actually need. So I want to put 2 together there, so I only end up with 3 stitches because you miss out the last 2. You'll see why in a bit. And then I'm just going to go straight up. So I'm going to finish the this row off now, and then I'll be back with the next. Right, so next round, what we're going to do is I've switched colours again. Don't matter what colours you're using for this. I generally, just like to keep things interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm just connecting back on again and chaining 3 into that chain 3 from the last round, and I'm just going to scoot on down to the very end of this little segment. So what we're going to do is we're not going to miss the 2 on the end. We're going to go all the way to the end, and I'll show you why. So I'm just going to try and speed up a little bit here. Get a little yarn tail out of my way. I can go a bit faster then. Right, so you're going to have to have a little imagination for this little bit. So we're not. This is where we would normally stand if we're jumping over. Stop when we're jumping over a corner. But I want you to do those last 2 for this. So that's 1 and 2. Then what you want to do is pull out enough yarn. If I can find my trusty little scissors, I'm just going to cut my yarn. And then get my sewing needle, because what I want to do now is fill this gap because there's not quite enough space to go down and back up, so this is what we do about that instead. So you're going to go through your first stitch here and draw that together, and then back through there and back through that corner just to secure that in place, and then I'm just going to put 1 stitch in each stitch on each side. So I'm working a little quick here. No, we haven't done before, but this is going to be a little different because we're not going to sew this end in because we're going to carry on using it. So what we're going to do is tie that back onto this. I always put a double knot in that because there's less chance of it slipping free. You're not going to see it anyway, so it's fine. And then what we're going to do is we want to start from a bit further up here. So I'm going to 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to go into this one here. because we've only got this round and one more round to do on this side. So even though I've got probably one too many stitches in here, that's fine, I'm counteracting it, and I'm just going to slip stitch all the way up here and then double crochet back into that corner space there. And then I'm going to continue. Well, I won't do a whole row, but I will join you for the next part because we kind of have to do the same but in reverse, sort of. Right, so as you can see, that's joined up nicely, and it's still lying nice and flat, which is brilliant. So I'll join you on the opposite side, so give me 2 minutes and I'll be back with you. Right, so I'm just coming up on this little inverted part here, so I've just got about another couple of stitches to do with you. 1, 2, and then I've got another one, 3. So that makes that side what goes down. And again, I'm just going to pull enough yarn up to do a little bit of light sewing. Yeah, that should be enough. So I'm going to do the same again, apart from this time it's kind of like in reverse. So I'm going into that first corner, flatten this out a little bit, and then go back into that same stitch and back through that corner, and one in each stitch going up. Good thing about doing a simple whip stitch is you don't see it. I'm actually sewing, even though I'm sewing this on the front, you can't really tell it's there, which is always nice. And I'm just going to kind of go into that, one of those slip stitches and do another one. Yeah. And then I'm going to tie my black back on. This just means you don't have a thousand more little ends to weave in. I think we've all had enough of weaving this project's ends in so far. So I'm just going to turn this a little bit, and now I'm just going to go into, say this is the corner, what we've just made in that black. I'm just going to go into that first stitch just there, do the exact same. Well, that's worked out nice, the knots on the back, and then a double crochet back into that same space. So 1, 2, should have 4 here, 3 and 4. Pull your yarn up, get rid of that, and then now I'll just go straight on with this rather than stopping and starting for a new video segment. So what I'm going to do now is this is going to be a row running direct parallel. So if this is looks a bit wide, it will be fine. By the time we put a border on it, yeah, you're not even going to notice. Because, yeah, I've got a bit of a border pond for this blanket as well. So just join in and go straight underneath. You can make this stitch a little bit longer and kind of, you know, accentuate it like that. And after a couple of stitches you can start tightening up your tension, and yeah, just do it how you feel. All my other corners are done. This is my last corner, thank heavens. And they are all, they look the same, but they're all slightly different in regards to having a little bit like that. But you know, once it all settles out and it has a border, you can see it will, you know, it's quite malleable, so it will actually look alright with that. So just go over that little tail a couple more stitches and I'll just chop that off. So that row's just like that, and by the time you come to the end, you're just going to finish in the same way. You're going to slip stitch the last stitch in the previous row, cut off and weave in all your ends. Right, so that's back corner, and then what we're going to do next is I'll show you then how to fill just above these little squares in. It's basically the same thing, apart from we just go around, and I think that is only 4 rows, so I'll probably do that all in one fell swoop. So I will see you in a few moments. Right, so moving on to one of our little kind of like indented edge pieces, what we're going to do is, first of all I'm going to move this so I can actually crochet with it, because I've got most of my blanket on my knee and it is, there's a lot of it. So, connect on like normal, going into this first stitch. And what we're going to do is we are just going to go to the other side like we would doing anything like this pattern. So down and then miss your corner stitches like always. Try to get through this as quick as possible because this video is going to be a little bit on the long side to upload. So I'm just doing stitch for stitch, so I'm motoring on a little bit. Just so you can see what it's meant to look like. Can't believe we've nearly done. Or I have. It's been interesting doing these videos for this one. I hope everyone's enjoying them so far. One, two, three, 4, 5. How many have I got on this side? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and including my chain 3, a 6, which works out well, so I can just put one in that chain 2 space. Pull up your yarn, change your colour, and start again. And basically, that's all we're going to do for this little bit. So you always start in the same place, and you always finish in the same place. So this bit should be 4 rounds, and by the time you get to your last round, you're just going to double crochet 2 stitches, jump into the corner, double crochet 2 stitches, and then do the same on the other side, then just sew in all your ends. So that's it for this segment of the video. The next part of the video is just going to be, we're just going to be putting a little border on there. Nothing too difficult, but it's still worth doing a video about. So join me for that, which will be out soon.